والحمد لله.
Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, it's another blessed day. The month of August is Women's Month. Yes, everyone is having events, motivational talks, and dinners, suppers, just uplifting women. We are really appreciating our women. Well, this evening we are chatting about our female educators' well-being and health. I know when I put this up on social media, it was so amazing that educators were actually applauding. They said, finally, someone's having a show on us, educators, and especially the women, because people don't understand what it is to be a woman in general. Well, taking care of one's health is so vital. Well, work in the education field can be incredibly rewarding, but it can also put you at risk for illnesses or injury. Requirements of the job on site or at home. To workplace stress, these issues can lead to more serious problems if left unaddressed. They could prevent you from being able to work or do daily tasks, not only at school or at work, but also at home. Well, common health issues, with many educators face is now this is something. Just listen to what I'm saying. The issues what many educators face is voice disorders and hearing loss, eye strain, burnout, stress, and other mental health issues. Falls many other under these many educators rushing on freshly waxed floors, or I wouldn't say all schools have that, but like on the mat, or a step falling down, or falling down on something which was spilled, injuring yourself, breaking a leg, fracturing an arm. This happens. And even the classroom aisles, well, there are plenty of injuries, communicable diseases. Work in education usually involves contact with many learners, other educators, often in close quarters. These are now looking at the flus, the cold, and all other, viruses, which we 100% contact it at work, at school. Or more recently, let's look at a year ago, COVID. If one educator was positive, then there's going to be a ripple effect of few other educators, and same with the learners. Most common health problems experienced by teachers. And I know if you are an educator, you are going to say, yes, yes, you are right. Stress headaches. Teachers are always giving stress headaches. They say the Panado is not the GP choice, it's the JP choice. That's if you are a foundation phase or an intermediate educator. Insomnia. Educators, their minds are always functioning, thinking about the next day, thinking of what happened in school. So they can't sleep, or they're planning what they got to do for the day. Fatigue. We are always tired. We are tired when we get up, and we're even tired when we go to sleep. And another thing, obesity. This is quite common, even though you eat so little, you eat one meal, you nibble in the day. What about eye strain? Carpal tunnel, the syndrome where lots of educators complain about the fingers and the wrist. And caffeine addiction. How many of you guys say, I need that cuppa in the morning to start my day? Well, our guest in studio doesn't need any introduction. He is an ex-educator many, many years ago. He's somebody who's involved in holistic healing, Ayurvedic practitioner, Mr. Peter Francis, who's going to give us tips and advice how to take care of ourselves, especially the female educator. Welcome to School Matters.
Thank you, Sumaya.
Nice to have you in the province for a change.
Right. Well, this like is returning to a hometown.
Well, a very interesting topic, a topic which ex-educator will only think of it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So it's Women Month. We are celebrating the woman. This is so different. We are honoring the educator, the female in the classroom, the mother, the sister, the caregiver, the nurse.
The female has such a multifunctional role as a as a person. Um, it's an amazing kind of story how they cope with school matters, school affairs,
Hmm.
taxing the children, checking for their homework, looking at what they're eating, and so on. And the fathers play a very singular role of earning money.
Hmm.
And it's time now we give attention. And I'm glad that they haven't thought of a men's day, because the women, without them, must know they are the creators of the world. Without them, we will have a dysfunctional situation of no mankind.
Hmm.
We
True.
thought about it.
Exactly.
And so we must applaud the role of women. And I think with this Women's Day, sometimes we take for granted it's just a day in the calendar, but we forget how much they do, and when they missed, how much we miss them.
Do you know, you lost your spouse. I lost my mom during COVID. And when,
Uh,
when you're reading a lot of, stuff on social media and research, it says, I'm not comparing now, but
uh,
if you lose a dad or if you lose a husband, the family still can thrive and still can function. But if you lose the mother or the wife,
tell me.
that busy house can be so quiet. There's something about a woman keeping the family together, even without the husband around.
Yeah, you see, in the Hindu calendar, this
Mm.
Friday is called Lakshmi Day.
Yeah.
Lakshmi Day is a name given to the housewife.
Okay.
She is the goddess of light. She is the goddess of wealth. She's a goddess of lots of things. And minus the women in the household,
Mm.
brings all this kind of other trauma. You can't relate. A child doesn't relate to the father the way he relates to the mother.
Exactly. And
A child can get married and go back and come back and go sleep next to his mother. You
true.
know, you'll never expect that now, with boys and men, or the boys and father.
Mm.
So this, exceptional birth attraction. I don't know if you saw Mad Max.
Yeah.
This birth attraction is always there.
Yeah.
And I think in the last show we discussed that South Africa has 157 fatherless children.
Exactly. That's so true.
We are the second in the world with the highest number of fatherless children. And how do they cope? It's a mother who's a domestic, earns
Mm.
the money, pays the rent, pays for their education, sees them to the
Yeah.
university, and the father is nowhere in the scene.
Mm.
We mustn't blame, any government or apartheid. It's a culture.
Yeah.
Where are the fathers? They make the babies. Where are the fathers gone to?
Mm.
They just disappear in thin air. No responsibility at all. You saw the Miss South Africa. Everybody was focused on fatherless children.
Yeah.
You know, except of course, Mia didn't say much about fatherless children. She having a handicap. We're not even addressing those things as well.
Yeah. Do the stresses what educators been through and going through. A lot of your patients are even educators. I know at one
Yes, the
point,
bulk.
yeah, at one point you were merged with the department and even University of KZN in the medical school, where you were workshopping and educating, especially educators, your passion there. Now, looking at the educator right now, the whole education system is changing. Learners are different, methods, ways, every single thing is different. And it can be very overwhelming and stressful, even for a manager who is an educator, you know, and especially if you are that female educator. So let's go through to some of the main uh, issues what the female goes through. How can they take care of their health and also their well-being?
You see, the point of departure is who is the educator we're talking about. In the initial stages, we talked about different birth balances.
Yeah,
Now, according to your birth balance, you are a good manager of stress.
and I can
You're
just
supposed to be.
with that smile on my face.
Yeah. You're supposed to be.
Our tech Zach is saying yes, he too. Well, you're
Yeah,
always so cool. He's always so
yeah,
cool. You wouldn't know.
yeah. You see, your birth balance is to do with the heat and wind. Wind gives you that strength. Heat gives you that energy. So you
Hmm.
can't sit still. You must be on the hop.
Well, as you've mentioned it in previous shows, I'm an adult
Yeah,
with ADD.
yeah.
You always want to do something, but
You
that's
want to do
amazing.
something. Yeah.
I know. I remember at one show you explained the different body types: the
Yes.
wind, the
Yeah.
air, the water.
Right. So illnesses are very attached to the body types.
Yeah.
Now, people like you won't suffer so much problems, above the diaphragm,
Okay.
right? The problems will creep around, the intestines, the stomach, and so on. And but the eating habits easily to overcome them,
Okay.
right?
Zach, he's also born in September. Which day? You don't understand to say, but I'm also born in September, and
Oh,
yeah,
is it? Well, they're easygoing people.
yeah, easygoing
Easing
people.
people.
Hmm.
You're very socially very adaptable, very fast in social adaptability. It's one of your pluses, the
Okay.
September babies,
Also OCD.
and they're very easygoing,
Hmm.
no fuss.
No fuss. It's so amazing
The
your
zodiac.
yeah, and also your the way your physique is. You can say so much because I know you came onto shows and I had other guests and you told them you're very stressed. How do you know that? By your tongue. You look just by looking at the tongue.
Yeah, we're going to discuss that today with the various approaches that the Ayurvedic system uses for diagnosis as against allopathic medicine. Allopathic medicine just uses your blood pressure and look at you and ask you questions. What if you're not very articulate?
Yeah.
What happens then?
Hmm.
So the doctor doesn't have a good picture of you.
Hmm.
In a time of Ayurvedic medicine, they look at your tongue, they look at your eyes, they look at your skin, they look at your pulse, and uh, they check your temperature and the other things like the normal doctor would do. But they have six different ways of diagnosis, which gives them a very good overall picture of the person they're dealing with.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
You know, looking at something which is so common with educators, even male educators, that stress headache, or I call it the lack of sleep. If you sleep very late and you get up very early, on that second day you tend to have that like a cluster headache on your forehead, or even just the stress headaches.
right. You see, basic thing is that you only heal at night.
Okay.
Your endocrine system,
Hmm.
if you're not sleeping well,
Yeah.
then you're not going to function well. You get lots of things happening to you while you sleep, and in the daylight it's a different phenomena. So you can't switch the times. You must sleep virtually in very partial light or total darkness, and you'll find that you are healthy in the next morning,
Hmm.
because lots of healing takes place in sleep.
and
It's a
lots of
natural medicine.
and lots of people, including me, we on our phones.
Yeah,
you know Amazingly, you say you're going to bed, but then you're on your phone and you're checking out stuff. So sleep is also cut there and shortened if you really look at that. So what can we do to stop that stress headache?
the stress
Stop
headache.
teaching.
You must know headache is like the lights on your fancy cars now.
Yeah.
Like your BMWs and so on. The light comes on,
Hmm.
and the light on the computer reading will tell you this light is related to the maybe the fan belt, etc., and so on. Now, when you get a headache, it's a symptom that something is happening to your body which you're not taking care of.
Yeah.
You can have a constipation and have a headache. So the headache is telling you you need to reconstipate. You can have a poor blood condition where your iron is low and have a headache. Now we're talking about female illnesses, yeah, and sadly enough, we now seeing female children at age 8, 9 that are reaching the cycle periods.
Mm.
What education do they know if they lose blood? How they going to replace the blood?
Mm.
We don't teach them anything about it. There's no education, nothing in the curriculum that
Yeah.
teaches those girls. It is like put in the cupboard.
Mm.
You don't talk about those things. You're
Mm.
not supposed to talk about it. Yet it's so much of education, like the Ayurvedic people. I can see a teller, dealing with me in the bank, and I'll tell her after that, take some iron because your iron is low,
Mm.
right? Just for looking at the nails. Right?
Yeah.
So, and we seem to bypass that quite often. So, sadly enough, lots of females grow up in this kind of, quiet, not expressing the illnesses.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it has changed any bit because you can still see the new generation. They still keep that away from a lot of people.
Mm.
I had a patient where the mother and the daughter is at university. Mother came in, and I had to call the mother and tell your child didn't have a cycle about 3 months. Do you know about it? She
Mm.
reckon no. I reckon why don't you know about it? You're a female.
Yeah.
This is a female illness. Who she's going to talk to? She's the
Exactly.
only daughter in the family.
Mm.
No, it is a serious issue, and we need to talk about it because you can change the whole phenomena. The pain issues and all disappear when the blood conditions are normalized.
Mm.
You don't
So,
have to. It's not a sickness.
mm.
It is part of life. So you need to get,
So
folic acids,
would you
vitamin
say
C's.
for the educators, just say, regardless of age, do they cycle also
Affects them.
the stress?
Affects them. You want to know. I think we did one program from Limpopo
Mm.
on sunlight and
Yeah.
fresh air.
Mm.
You notice the people that come from the UK are sad looking.
White.
They
No sun.
bleached for one. Two, they don't look happy because they don't have sufficient sunlight. It
Mm.
affects the mood. So the serotonin levels are dependent on night and darkness.
Mm.
So you get a lot of serotonin level developing while you're sleeping. So if you don't sleep and you're having insomnia, your serotonin level is going to be low and you're not going to function well.
Yeah.
Then in the daytime, the melatonin levels increase.
Mm.
So these are two phenomena where you need to enjoy your sleep and to enjoy the sunlight.
That helps
It
with
helps.
moods. And obesity. I know colleagues in every school will tell you we eat the cereal, we bringing salad, we cutting out carbs, but I just can't lose that weight. What is it? Especially
Oof.
educators. I got messages coming on about that.
Well, percentage wise, we're sitting at 42% of the given sample of population that is obese.
Yeah.
And obesity comes with the problems, kidney problems, heart problems, cardiac vascular problems, and serious heart attacks, etc. So if you don't manage the obesity, and remember, it's not your fault that you're obese sometimes
Yeah.
because it's related to genetics and gender and family and age.
Yeah.
So you have no control as you grow because you may be genetically carrying the style and genes of your parent who was obese and presently plump, and nobody told anything because these people are also fun lovers.
Mm.
I don't know if you noticed that.
Bubbly. They say bubbly.
They're bubbly, yeah,
Mm.
right. They healthy, they plump and so on, and they're fun lovers. They don't like enemies. That is the best balance. They don't like enemies. They don't like fight. They like calmness all the time. And unfortunately, their genes have a different kind of way of dealing with metabolism because the metabolism works so fast that the foods they eat digest so quickly that they have 2, 3 bowel movements in a day,
Okay.
right? Which doesn't, compare to other people. Other people are lucky if they have one bowel movement a day sometimes,
Mm.
depending on the birth balance. But that may be said. Obesity comes with a lot of illnesses.
Okay, we have a message coming through. Absolutely beautiful topic. I hope people are listening and following up. I have a message, Mr. Francis. I love when you come on air because I learn so much and I save my money from going to the doctor.
Thank you.
You know, so what advice do you have for the busy educator who's a mum, who's a working woman? What advice do you have for them when it comes to seeing to their meals for the day, especially at work, at school?
Well, there are easy things to control, the chronic illnesses. Remember, cardiovascular condition, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and obesity
Mm,
are the five major problems of health
yeah.
that manifest in any community. So, there are simple things to do. You need to exercise. That is non-negotiable. You must
Mm,
walk at least 15, 20 minutes, or you go to the gym. I mean, I'm 76 in Limpopo. I go to the gym 5 times a week.
mm,
I do 400 meters of swimming a day.
mm.
And, I went to a funeral, and the priest is asking me, I'm your age, but how do you keep yourself so young? I said, I'm not keeping
You're going to
myself
tell us
young.
the secret
I'm
on air
keeping
now.
myself fit.
Mm,
Right, that is the motive. I'm keeping myself fit. He says, "What do you do?" Then I'm explaining him. I do yoga 2 hours a day. I
mm.
swim, about 45 minutes to an hour, and I very selective of what to eat, when to eat, and so on.
And you're still anti microwave.
And anti-microwave. And you must know, 90% of South Africa is sitting with microwaves, which means we're sitting with problems that we are inviting.
You know, another thing which is quite common, and we mentioned this on previous shows, even with other guests which I had, the cancer. Cancer, and generally, but we're focusing more on women, breast
Yes, I've
cancer.
got it on my agenda here because compared to Ayurvedic medicine and allopathic medicine, allopathic doctors picking up cancer when it's a bit too late.
Mm,
In Ayurveda, we have 6 stages in illnesses, and the 6 stages in illnesses is such that we can pick up a condition in the stage one. Now, in allopathic medicine, they pick up cancer in stage three, stage
okay.
four. That means you're going to the grave.
Yeah.
So, what is the point? And modern medicine has come so far away, and we're not picking up the cancer early.
Mm,
Especially breast cancer and prostate cancer now at its high levels. We're not relating to this, we're not borrowing some ideas from natural medicine. And in Ayurvedic medicine, we get the thing like accumulation phase. That's
mm,
phase one. That means if I see a problem now, let's say a diabetic comes to me and she got diabetic sores,
yeah.
and that stage is like a sixth stage. It's like the aggravation stage, manifestation stage. You're now seeing that the wound is now clearly visible to the patient and clearly visible to the doctor. But she already went through 5 stages of suffering,
Yeah.
which doctors don't pick up. Right? I had a patient while I was in Limpopo. A patient phoned me from Merebank, spent 10,000 rands on diabetic wounds and not healing. So I said, go to your backyard and pick up some blackjack leaves.
What, blackjack leaves, the ones who stick on you.
Yes,
When we were little, when we play, I think even now if you
yes.
walk
You
on the
throw it
grass,
on you, it catches on you.
and
You
it's
see.
so irritating to get them all
Right.
out. Blackjacks, okay.
Blackjack
So what do
leaves.
we do with that?
Yeah. You take the leaves, you grind it. You grind the leaves, and now in the traditional Ayurvedic people, they also use their saliva
Hmm.
into that leaf. But I told this person to use water.
Hmm.
So you crush the leaves, you put turmeric, a little bit of turmeric powder, that haldi, and you put coconut oil. And it took this patient 3 days to heal.
Wow.
Previously, the patient suffered for 6 months with the
Hmm.
same wound.
And it doesn't heal.
So why can't we borrow these things from elsewhere
Nature.
and use it?
Hmm.
And then the lady phoned me to tell me that, my niece is a lawyer and I thought she knows what she's doing. She engaged a dermatologist and we had a
Yeah.
doctor to the house. and we were not seeing any improvement. I said, yeah, but these are simple things. You don't go to
Mm.
the moon; it's in your backyard.
Yeah,
You
true.
know.
Do you know, talking about that, we spend so much of money on medication, looking of new ways, but we forget about the simple thing. As you said, walking, sitting in the sun,
Yes.
eating simple foods. We,
Right.
we we have forgotten all this.
We forgot, but you can see the impact of sitting in the sun. Sitting in the sun is going to contribute to your endocrine system working actively.
Mm.
It's going to push up your immune system. It's getting you vitamin D, right? It's your skin going to improve, and it protects you from skin cancer,
Wow.
right? That is why you see whites bathing in the sun like crazy because
Mm.
of their skin, and they're trying to absorb the sunlight. Now we don't do that because we have different pigment,
Mm.
but unfortunately they go through this kind of thing. So well, cancer, as I mentioned to you, that we are not picking it up timelessly.
And it's quite common,
It's rampant
unfortunately.
now. At one stage in the 50s and 60s, you never heard of cancer.
You know, someone who has studied a lot, also, at the medical school and Ayurvedic, and being an educator, an ex-educator, what's your theory for like they say, like 4 out of 10 women breast
Breast
cancer?
cancer.
Yeah, so
Now, you must know there is another dimension as well, and my wife is guilty of this.
yeah.
Because the process was painful,
Mm.
they avoided the test,
Okay, yeah.
right?
Mm.
Now, I mean, we're taking long about this testing methods. Now, I think the testing methods now have changed a little bit, but in spite of that, you have to remind females that you have to go do your blood test.
Mm.
You go do this. While there's simple symptoms. If you're feeling tired by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's something radically wrong with you.
True. Well, listeners, we'll be taking a short ad break.
You're listening to School Matters with Sumaya Khan.
The chaos and destruction in the Gaza Strip is beyond comprehension. Virtually everyone is displaced, hungry, and in urgent need of life-saving humanitarian support. The Al Imdad Foundation has been working tirelessly to address the health, nutrition, and water needs of the population. Our hospital, water deliveries, and hot meal programs are made possible with your support. Your donation, big or small, is a lifeline for those in dire need. Help Gaza survive. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Do you want to win a prize?
Flip it.
Do you want to win 2 prizes?
Flip it.
3, 4, 5 prizes?
Hey, flip it, man.
You can win up to 5 prizes a day on the Breakfast Rush when you play
Flip it.
exclusive to the Breakfast Rush on Radio 1 and SAR.
A reminder that in the atrium overboard, you will find Chippewa Spur, our halal steak sizzle, our beef ribs are delicious, and our burgers are legendary. The combos are perfect for big appetites. We have plant-based options too, and mouth-watering desserts. Pop in anytime for all your favorite Spur food. We are open from 8 in the morning to 9 p.m. Chippewa Spur at the atrium. People with a taste for life.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies.
Come join Shagufta Khan,
Kelly Ramazani,
Ria Mohammed,
Fatima Karim,
and Salma Kazi Wahab,
Rabia
Carvalho at our annual Women's Day event
at 189 West Road
on the 24th of August at 10 a.m. Haseen Khawateen.
It has to be you.
This hadith is sponsored by Ashraful Aid, International Humanitarian Organization.
حديث أدي قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الأناة من الله والعجلة من الشيطان. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, calmness is from Allah and haste is from shaitan. A person who is encouraged to conduct his daily activities with calmness and patience, as acting in haste often leads one to spoiling his action.
This hadith is sponsored by Ashraful Aid, International Humanitarian Organization.
Are you looking for a meaningful way to fulfill your zakat obligation? Look no further than Ashraful Aid. With our trusted track record, your zakat reaches those who need it the most in the most honorable and dignified manner. Visit our website at www.ashrafulaid.org.
You are listening to School Matters with Sumaya Khan.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to School Matters. Yes, this evening we have the Ayurvedic practitioner, Mr. Peter Francis, and messages are just pouring in. Well, today we are talking about the educator, but generally just the female. We're talking about their mental health and how to take care of their well-being. Being an educator, there's so much which you have to do, demands from you from every angle. So we were discussing cancer, but before we go, there's another message on the screen. Thank you for the advice. Please help. Was in hospital 3 times, dizziness, lightheadedness. Did all tests, all clear. All specialists said can't find cause. Either respect. Please advise. My diet is in order. Stopped physical training because of lightheadedness. Age 64 years young.
What's his major symptom now?
It's the lightheadedness, dizziness, I think. Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God. It's a very crucial age, 60. Remember, the Bible talks about 3 scores and 10, that the age limit.
Yeah.
And so recently we're losing lots of educators just before retirement. Now, dizziness is an indication that there is not sufficient blood going to the brain. If he's a thin, slim person, I don't know, but I'm assuming that it is.
Mm.
And if he's a obese person, this can happen when they stand up.
Yeah. Vertigo, that's quite common.
You stand up and there's not enough, you sort of like the pressure. There's a pressure difference and you can suffer from a blackout and dizziness.
Yeah.
It precedes by the dizziness and it is followed by the blackout.
Mm.
So you can get it very transitional, and what is dangerous is you won't know of the blackout. You'll fall down.
Yeah.
And you'll taken to hospitals and they'll investigate, etc. But the point is, this thing is to do with your own physiology.
Hmm.
So you must learn, as you grow old, you must learn to slow down.
Well, it's very hard to tell your mind that.
Yeah, you see, we're operating with a young mind and the old body. But the old body must know that it must go, you have to do things now in conjunction with your age.
Mm.
I used to sleep in the gyms, like go 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Until my son told me, no, you're overdoing it now, all right? And I was playing racquetball. It's racquetball played in the squash court.
Mm.
At age 68, I was still in the squash court. So only when I picked up an accident squash court, I stopped the racket game.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to wait for that drama. You must know that is your age. You must change your style and do things differently. So that dizziness, particularly, you must watch when he gets up or when he's sleeping. Suddenly, he wants to go to the toilet. He rushes. He'll feel dizzy, and that's fatal because you can fall down or you can hit your head somewhere, and it'll cause an impact on your brain, and you can have a stroke.
So you suggest they do. He or she mentions that they saw a specialist and they can't find any cause.
No. Tell her I'm here for 1 month and I'm
Okay.
running workshops and,
So at the end of the program, you can give your
Yeah.
contact details. There's another thing which is so common, generally, but especially among educators, depression.
Yes, very, very strange to talk about depression. And I want to remind you about that Malaysian plane that disappeared. You remember the Malaysian plane
Yes.
disappeared?
Hmm.
Now, the pilot there was going through depression. He lost his wife
Yeah.
through separation.
Hmm.
He lost his children and he was very depressed. And now he was contemplating on suicide.
Hmm.
So what he did, he made this, simulator, like how he will take this plane with a crowd of people and crash the plane in the water.
Gosh.
And he took it off the radar and so on.
Hmm.
So it was depression that caused that 129 people to die with him in the plane. That's one. Elvis Presley lost his wife to the martial instructor where she was unfaithful, and he went into depression and he started taking drugs, and he died at 42. Can you see these mental conditions? If you don't get help, you must talk to people. You need friends, you need the close friends, confidant, your teachers, your doctors, and so on, that can save you from that danger.
Yeah. It's quite sad. Depression can your physical health can also take a toll.
And there's no age limit, because a child in Isipingo took his father's gun, standard 2, and shot himself because there were marital problems in the family.
Yeah.
Standard 2, age 10, I think. Right.
So, what advice you have for depression?
One, you need to see counselors, you need to see your doctors, you need to see friends, confidants, and so on, because you mustn't think it's the end of the life. Because if correctly, when you fall in love, you're falling in love with one person, and sometimes when this person lets you down, you go into a depressive state that nobody can save you.
Yeah.
And nobody realized that Elvis Presley died of depression more than anything else. And if he had a good wife, it would have saved him.
Well,
Yeah.
if you think about it, a lot of celebrities,
Yes,
Marilyn Monroe,
marital problems.
so many of them, because of depression. And
depression.
I was researching something on depression. There was a video where this lady's at a party and she's singing and she's dancing, and 3 hours later or 4 hours later, she committed suicide. And they said that is depression. So not
Yes.
everyone you see who's laughing and happy.
That's
and
a facade.
That's a facade.
That's a facade.
Normally, you'll think the one who's quiet to
Yeah.
themselves is the depressed one.
No. They don't show it. Elvis Presley was in concerts. He had to go and sing and dance, to rock, and what have you. While in his quiet life, he was going through depression.
Right. And unfortunately, we fellow human beings to the next person, the next human being, we are very cold. We show no empathy, and we don't realize that you could just tip that person or spark that person to really fall off the rails.
Yes. Now, in marriage, we sometimes take for granted. Slowly the marriage gets colder and colder, and people move apart and they operate like robots in the kitchen, and so on. But I think this, words like the day declaring for women and so on, brings a new flavor into the lives of these people. At least they're getting appreciated. There's a dedication day and so on, because lots of marriages are turning cold. And I asked one of my patients. She says, "Well, she's a black patient and very, very rich. She was wearing diamonds in 3 fingers. That will tell you, how rich she was." So I asked, "Where's your husband?" She reckon, "Which one you talking about?" So I reckon, "Why you have more than one mother?" She reckon, "Yeah, it's boring to stay with one husband." Right? I said, "You're lucky you're in that culture, because in the Hindu culture, it's save it for one person getting married to one person and having respect for the children, etc. Because it's not all about the mother and all about the father. It's all about the family now. It's a unit. You have to respect the children. You have to respect the grandchildren, etc. That's a unit. You can't suddenly disappear from the equation of the radar and go to and start a family elsewhere, which is happening in South Africa
quite often.
Yeah.
Do you know? There's another message which came up. Many managers, bosses tell you that keep your home problems at home. Don't bring it to work. That is not possible.
No, it's not possible. It's not possible. Remember, if a boss has you at heart for your production and admires your work, he must admire you totally and respect you for who you are and where you come from, respect your family and your children, and that you need family time and you need special time for, breaking even with stresses. Now we are becoming like factory workers. You know,
Yeah.
we want production.
Hmm.
Put 60 children in a classroom and let them all pass the examination. You know, from 79 countries, South Africa became the last country for reading.
Hmm.
Right. So we
Yeah.
had Angie, who did an excellent job, took 5.4 million from education budget and never built one toilet to the money. We don't know where the money went to.
Hmm.
So what we did injustice to the children. Education is, Mandela said, if you don't have education, you're not going to go far, right? It's going to teach you how to live. Remember, in one of our shows, we talked about the two aims of education is to teach you how to live and how to earn a living.
Yeah.
We failed both
Both.
miserably.
Hmm.
54% is our unemployment,
Yeah.
right? That shows they got degrees, but they got no jobs.
It's single parent.
And we don't know how to live. We forgot how to live now.
Hmm.
You know, we're forgetting lots of basic things, the warmth, the love that keeps the thing going,
Yeah.
we forgot.
So, what advice you have for the person who's just depressed or just feel down, glum, sad?
We need to conscientize the community as a whole
Hmm.
about depression, because depression is taking a large community now to the grave. Because we are becoming, the middle class, the bourgeois kind of behavior and discipline and so on is giving you such a degree of independence that you don't know your neighbor.
Yeah.
Now, in those days, your neighbor was like a potential counselor. You had a problem,
Hmm.
go to your neighbor and he talks to you.
Yeah.
And he exonerated you with lots of weight of the problem. Now, who do you go to when you live in the modern life? You don't know who lives next door. You don't know who lives upstairs. The days of passing the curry over the fence, that camaraderie, the
What
warmth, the
about?
energy.
Can you lend me 1 cup of
Yeah.
washing powder, or
Yes.
do you have a tomato and an onion?
Tomato.
Yeah.
It may have been a borrowing thing, but it bonded
Hmm.
people in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You couldn't walk, a child couldn't walk with a cigarette in his hand in the street because the neighbor would give him a clout.
Hmm.
Now he can walk with a bottle of drink to school and nobody will tell him, because his mother will tell him to tell the teacher that you bought that with your money.
Well, as you said, culture's changing, times changing, morals and values are out of the door. You know, an educator's life, especially the female educator, it's a daily routine. Work, pick up your
Yeah.
kids, rush or errands, and cook the meal, homework, sleep. It continues. How or what advice you got for that busy parent, mom, educator?
You see, I think this is mentioned in your hadith as well.
Yeah.
You can't. You talked about sleep.
Hmm.
If you don't meditate and you don't pray, you'll never fall off to sleep. Let me tell
Yeah.
you that you'll suffer from insomnia for the rest of your life,
Hmm.
right? And insomnia is, I can tell this publicly. There was a minister without portfolio. Remember Jay Naidu?
Yeah.
Never slept for 12 years,
Hmm.
right? And wrote books and all that in his sleep because he wasn't sleeping, right? So when we put him right, he slept away in the clinic. And his wife was a Canadian white lady. She said, please let him sleep because he never slept for 12 years. And this was the clinic down here, down
Yeah.
Crescent Street.
Yeah. Invest.
Right. And he told me, you can use me publicly because I never slept for 12 years. And Ayurvedic treatment put me to sleep. But can you see the disadvantage of not sleeping? It
Yeah.
affects your physiology. It takes away a natural medicine. Natural medicine is the medicine that if you fall to sleep, you heal.
Yeah.
That is why when patients go to hospital, the first thing they do is they put them to sleep.
Exactly.
It's not for management, it's for them to heal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll be sitting and talking to the patients and the other patients. So they sedate them and they heal.
Do you know, a lot of, also you'll say learners or the general public, but a lot of educators are falling very ill with, respiratory problems, besides fatigue, like, getting the flu, getting the cold, getting bronchitis, it's like within 1 month or 6 weeks, they're getting it twice reoccurrence. What advice do you have there from a natural
You
point of
see,
view?
presently, you're talking about something that's very prevalent and
Mm.
very apparent in schools. One child has to have the viral infection. He can give it to half a dozen children,
Mm.
right? And they get diarrhea, they get the vomiting, the fever, and so on. So you have to keep this child isolated. In some of the private schools, if you cough, they'll call for your parents and take
To
you
go
home.
So you
Right?
suggest still wear the mask for safety now and then?
Yeah, you need to wear your mask again. To especially with the numbers in the classroom, I think you have to introduce the mask system again
Mm.
because you'll save the other children from the disaster.
Time is just going by. It's almost time. In general, for the woman, working class teacher, what advice you got for them to have that spring in that step every morning?
You're asking, it's a kind of like a rider, this problem.
Mm.
But fortunately for the female, it's innate. The motherly disposition grows them as a child. If you
Yeah.
notice a child taking a doll and the way she'll nurse the doll to sleep, you would notice that with your daughter.
Mm.
They will pamper that bear, although the bear is inanimate.
Yeah.
And actually, it's a process of motherhood that takes place in a 5-year-old child.
Mm.
So it becomes natural. And boys will take the same bear and pull their eyes out and decapitate that bear.
Yeah.
Right? Can you see how naturally motherhood becomes part of
Part of this.
children and females?
Yeah.
So they don't see it as a crime when they overwork. I've got friends, in Durban that can work and work and work. And I say, how do you find the time? They're like, well, this is the way we brought up to work.
Mm.
They were milking their cows on the farm, etc. Now they're living in Amslanga,
Mm.
and it's a different cup of tea, but they still work
Work.
hard.
It's in your.
It's a natural
Mm.
thing. But you must give them credit. You must salute the women today for the disposition of being such a multitask operators.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's something which
we
the
take for
Almighty
granted.
has blessed them.
Yeah,
Your contact details for our listeners, lots of them are messaging. They would like your contact
right.
details.
I'm only going to be here for the next month in Durban. I come here 4 times a year to Durban. And I run as many workshops and healing sessions, etc. My number is 082 33 57 563.
Hmm.
I'll just repeat that number: 082 33 57 563.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to be here with us. Well, I know for sure we all, especially we female educators, are going to take our health seriously and stop to recharge and exhale. I'd like to thank our tech Zach for making this show possible. My email address is sumayakhan.alansar@outlook.com. If you're a principal and educator, you can email me on that email address which I've given you, for your school to qualify to be spoiled. Just write a motivational letter. Well, it's Women's Month, so let's celebrate the woman in our lives. It could be one, it could be two, it could be many. Well, want to be a good teacher, whether that means taking a mental health day once a month, leaving at contract time or home time, eating lunch in your classroom, not taking any work home, eating all your candy stash, walking away from a negative coworker, or crying in your classroom at the end of the day. I don't care what you do or how you do it. Your learners need you to be okay. Assalamu alaikum.
मेरे नबी प्यारे नबी सुन्नत तेरी दुनिया दी.
Sunnah a day. Be merciful to the young and respect the old.
Sunnah a Day, proudly brought to you by Sunpick, 100% pure sunflower cooking oil. Sunpick, cook more with less. Sunnah a Day, proudly brought to you by Sunpick, 100% pure sunflower cooking oil. Sunpick, cook more with less.
Imagine this. You're putting together a 7-color meal, from the creamy pasta to the glazed carrots and flavorful onion gravy. This entire meal is made with our 100% pure extra virgin olive oil from our La Familia